Everybody, and welcome back. Today we figured out why Zack Snyder was at the Warner Brothers movie lot. Again, Animaniacs running through my head. If you know, you know. Wacko, Yakko, and Dot. So, inside Zack Snyder's shock return to Warner Brothers, a lot of bosses rally miserable staff amid Paramount deal purgatory. I'm sure it is very difficult for the people who work at Warner Brothers and probably Paramount to basically hurry up and wait while the legal ramifications play out everything and the people with billions of dollars figure out who's going to get what chunk of the pie, or if it's legal to have that chunk of the pie. And I'm guessing that a lot of these people just want to work. They just want to do their job. They just want to go home to their families. They just want to be able to provide for their families. And it's stressful being in a work environment that is not certain. You know, you're on shaky ground. What's going to happen here? And if you remember what was said recently by Ellison, that he's going to take Paramount out of California if the California AG Bonta, B-O-N-T-A, Bonta, I think, won't deal or won't talk. And it sounds like they're not so far. So just so much uncertainty and tumultuous times is tough. So supposedly Zack Snyder was there to kind of like rally the troops and, you know, hopefully put a smile on everyone's face. It sounds like that he's a guy that everybody kind of liked, or at least had respect for, and to see him back was hopefully a boon to their spirits and got them remotivated to, you know, continue on while this, you know, stuff works its way out. So, as it happens, Zack Snyder wasn't there to chat up Warner Brother heads about new DC projects or characters or reworking past projects. He was there, according to page 6, to host a screening of 1981's sword and sorcery epic Excalibur, helmed by John Boorman. That was held only for Warner Brothers staff. And reportedly, there were no cameras allowed. So it was very much, sounds like it was a team building exercise, if you will. That outcome is quite disappointing. Quite a disappointing reveal for anyone sincerely hoping that Snyder was teasing something more fruitful with this pic of the front of the iconic water tower. There may be some semblance of truth to theorizing that his return to Warner Brothers 5 years after that relationship soured in 2021, was a show of support from the studio amidst the legal hullabaloo regarding Paramount's merger attempts, but it's hard to know for sure. That said, the outlet points out that beyond the screening, Snyder may have had ulterior motives for his trip to Burbank. Snyder's past issues with Warner Brothers were mainly tied to the powers that be, who were eventually replaced by current studio bosses Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy. The duo reportedly gave Snyder a, quote, hero's welcome, along with the rest of the staff, and they engaged Snyder in question and answer after the screening. So that's positive, right? The report that this meetup could also help pave the way for Snyder's divisive remake plans for John Carpenter's Escape from New York that he brought up earlier this summer as a project he wants to bring to life. And following the WB event, page 6 notes that it should come as no surprise if any new updates point to Warner Brothers adding Escape to New York to its slate of upcoming movies. I didn't realize that redoing Escape from New York was divisive. Is that because John Carpenter's original Escape from New York is like an epic and so it can't ever be touched or remade? I mean, I guess I could see that. That's pretty like classic cinema. But they could always tell I don't know, like a side story and not maybe like a shot for shot remake, right? Hard to say. Not that it would be shot for shot. Granted, there was already movement made on that front in December when Canal Plus entered into a multi-year agreement with Warner Brothers Discovery. Canal Plus is the parent company of Studio Canal, which is where Snyder's Escape remake is currently happening, so there's a possibility that Snake Plissken's return was imminent even without the Excalibur staff screening. So, there's a little bit more. Could more projects come from this reteaming of the minds down the line? Surely, but it's way too early to start speculating on that. Maybe give it another week or so. So, yeah, It could, I mean, two things can be true at the same time, right? They wanted to bring Snyder back in because it sounds like the people there like him, and they're trying to raise morale because it's a difficult time. And they also want to bring a quality director back in under the wing, right? Like, even if he doesn't end up doing the DC stuff, which I know that's not what any of us want, but at least you've got a good director there who knows how to make good movies and movies that people enjoy. So I think it's that. And then also it's like, hey, why don't you let me go over here and do this? You know, James is struggling a bit and things aren't going as planned. And yeah, people will probably show up for Man of Tomorrow, but you know, nothing's going to be able to get to Spider-Man levels at this point, save for Doomsday. And I don't know, sooner or later, DC, in my mind, needs to stop trying to be second fiddle and just like do their own thing. And if that means two universes side by side, fine, let it happen. I mean, we've already got like a weird one-off Batman with the Robert Pattinson, the Batman, right? So I'm fine with that. I don't see why it's such a big deal. I don't see why it's problematic. I don't get it. I really don't. You know, comic books run parallel series all the time. It's just what's done. And if you've got the money for it, which these studios do, and they can make money on it, which I'm fairly certain they will, save for Supergirl, of course, they're taking a bath on that. But why not just go ahead and do it? There were a couple other things. Some of the comments, I guess, from the X posts said, "My goat is back, the return of the king." An opposing side said, "Why would they want him back? He's not very good at making movies." I think that's up for debate. Everybody's got some good ones and some bad ones. Another said, Snyder's firing is the biggest Hollywood mistake in 100 years. Warner Brothers lost billions by firing a man with an original and public's beloved vision, trying to catch a Marvel's bird in the sky. So yeah, no, DC just rushed everything, and Snyder did exactly what they asked him to do, but DC should have been slow and methodical and built up to Justice League, just like Marvel did with the Avengers and Age of Ultron and ultimately Infinity War and Endgame. It would have been much better. There was no, like, what's the rush in trying to catch them? Like, you're leaving money on the table, just rushing it to say, hey, we did something too. It makes no sense. It reminds me of, like, I don't know why it's coming to mind, but think of someone who starts working on their house in October for like Christmas, right? Like they're putting up lights and they're going to do one of those like crazy light shows with speakers and, you know, like the computer controls it and all that stuff. And then after it's a big hit, you know, come Thanksgiving when they turn it on or something, then the neighbor next to them says, "Oh, I'm going to run out and do that." And they go out and buy, you know, cheap stuff and get a wreath that's looking sad and some garland that's past its prime, and they just kind of throw it everywhere and they're like, "See, we did it too." It's not as good. Like, what are you doing? Like, take your time, be deliberate, stand out on your own, do your own theme. You've got great characters, tell stories. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? Tell stories, and you don't have to cram everything into just one movie. But will they ever learn? I don't know. But they do great with the DC animated. DC animated crushes Marvel. Crushes. I mean, Marvel's not really trying, to be fair, but DC is way, way better. So I don't understand why they can't take their time with the movies and just build. Just build. It'll work. It worked for Marvel. It'll work for you too. Just have good scripts, good actors, good directors. It'll happen. I promise. Just breathe and let it come to you. Anyway, that's all I got. What do you all think? Do you think that Zack Snyder coming back for this movie night was just to boost morale? Do you think it was he wanted to, you know, rub elbows with some execs and maybe they were trying to take the temperature on, hey, would you come back? Would you Would you, helm our DC if we need you to? Give me your thoughts below. And be sure to subscribe, and I will see you all on the next one. Thanks for stopping out.